Alright guys, so in this video we're checking out the new iFlight Protek25 Pusher. So I guess it's like a inverted version of the original Pusher, but actually a fair amount different. So the electronics are mostly the same to the original version. So I still have the original version here. I have made some modifications, as you can see, to this. I'll explain some of that here in a moment. But yeah, it still has the same all-in-one flight controller. 20 amp bursting to 30 amps. The same motors. These are 1404s. And these are 5500 kV. They're the same kV as the originals. And they basically just have this inverted frame. Obviously the frame is all brand new and carbon piece here for the main plate. Now this one has the Nebula Nano instead of the DJI camera on the original here, which actually they don't even sell this old one with the DJI camera anymore anyway because of the chip shortage. Only Nebula Nano cameras are available anyway. Obviously the Vista unit is the same. You can see it's under there, under the plastic, and kind of buried inside. And yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but it's under right there. The flight controller is right there, and then the USB port is under the battery strap, which is right there. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see. It's basically you have to pull out the battery strap to get access to the USB port because it's buried under the strap there. And now we have our crossfire antenna here in the back and a little stubby antenna for the Vista. So it could reduce your range if you want to go really far away, but this isn't really meant for long range anyway. Now this frame is interesting. It's like a different kind of plastic. It's fairly strong. I mean, it's actually pretty strong. So I'll show you a little bit more here in a second. And then they have this carbon plate, which is also pretty different. As you can see, it doesn't look like typical carbon fiber. So I actually have a empty frame kit here in the other color. I forget what this calls, a Caribbean blue or something like that. And this is what the carbon fiber looks like. And you can see here, this is kind of funny because people are going to be like, oh, this is not real carbon fiber use. You can't tell which way the fiber is, or the strands are going, or which way it's the direction of the carbon fiber. And I think what they've done is they've just eliminated that cosmetic layer, so you can't tell what's going on here, which is the cosmetic layer doesn't really mean anything anyway. What you need to do is you need to actually try and bend this, and this is actually extremely stiff, probably way overkill for a 2.5 inch Cinewhoop. But yeah, you can see there's interesting. They kind of go. You can kind of see a little bit of a direction that way, possibly. So I think the people that are going to they're putting out frames are probably going to get rid of that cosmetic layer just to throw people off so they can't tell what's going on inside, because I think people are making incorrect assumptions about the strength of carbon fiber just based on what they see in the video, which is pretty useless in my opinion. But yeah, this is a very nice strong piece of carbon fiber. Then this is what the prop guards look like, and difficult to convey in video, but it's quite strong. Not too heavy and not a lot of flex either. So obviously the carbon fiber frame is going to hold everything together, and then this is going to be swapped out pretty easily. They're saying 8 screws. So obviously there's 4 in the corner. I think there's these 2 right here, and then these 2 in the back that actually hold the prop guard onto the main body. And so you can take this off. If you want to remove it, you can take it off and just fly without the prop guard if you want. If you want to get a little bit more, I guess, agility. I didn't fly it that way. I'm not sure if it's going to make that much of a difference because there's really not much of a, it's not a super tall prop guard, so there's not a lot of aerodynamic effects. But yeah, you know, oh yeah, also there's like this foam that you can put around. They include this on all of their kits, but you can, if you want the look of the bumper, if you're going to be flying it indoors, you can obviously just stick this on. It has some adhesive, put it on pretty much wherever you want, and it's you get a nice long piece here. But anyway, I'm going to actually swap out some of these blue parts, I think, on my frame. I kind of like the blue better. And yeah, these are the 3D printed parts here for this frame kit. But yeah, I'm gonna then yeah, for mine, I'm gonna actually swap out some of the blue parts, especially the prop guard. I like that look better. And then I'll give away the I guess basically the mismatched frame kit if you want it. It'll be given away in a future video. And for those of you that follow my videos closely, you'll have to look for those links. I don't announce it in the title or anything like that. You'll have to watch the videos and wait for this to come out in a giveaway at some point in the future. Okay, so they have obviously are advertising this to be significantly lighter than the original version, and it is. So let me go ahead and just show you what the difference here in the weight is. It's pretty big. So this one here is now coming in at about 151 grams. The original here is 208 grams. Now I keep in mind that I have swapped the prop out here, and the reason I've switched this prop out is I reduced the KV on the motor because I think 5500 is a little bit too high. It's great for like aggressive flying and freestyle if you want to do freestyle for this, but at the same time, if you crash with this high KV motor, you have a greater chance of burning out the motors and or the ESCs. So if you just want to do cinematic flying, putting on the 6-bladed prop instead of the 3-bladed iFlight prop gives it a little bit more authority at a lower, basically lower KV. I can basically put a motor output limit in. I'll link that video down in the description if you want to see how to do that. I think it's I took it down from about 5500 to about 3800. Still running on a 4S and flies fine, but for cinematic flying, it's going to be better, and but not as good for aggressive flying, of course. If you're going to do racing with this or freestyle, then you're going to want to keep that higher KV, but keep in mind you have a higher risk of crashing and breakage. But yeah, this one here is significantly heavier at, with 208 grams versus 151 grams. So this saves a ton of weight over the old version, and so at the same KV and prop and basically same electronics, you get a lot more agility and you can fly it a lot more aggressively. But I'll explain maybe why it's not really going to be that useful for aggressive flying. But I know that everyone's going to want to know how this compares to this is the 95X V3. This is kind of the most popular one out there in terms of the 2.5-inch Cinewhoops, and it's 121 grams. It's 30 grams lighter than the Protek version, which is 50 more than 50 grams lighter than the original. So you get a lot of variation. And this is the one with the 1404 motors. I forget, these are like 4500 kV. Yeah, these are 4500 kV. So even on this one, I think I reduced the kV to like 4000. So yeah, with more power here, you're gonna have more ability to do like freestyle and racing and stuff like that. Of course, this will probably take more hits because it's got a little bit more structure in terms of the carbon parts and the prop guards. These are definitely way stronger, but this is also going to be more heavier and more durable. So basically, there's a trade-off between durability and agility, right? So if you want more durability, it's going to be heavier. But this one's actually more agile because it's lighter. So it's as you kind of go from the really heavy one here at 208 grams down to 151 grams, down to 121 grams, you gain more and more agility, more because the power to weight ratio is a lot better on the lower side. But then this, I know that a lot of people have broken these prop guards. So it's a lot thinner. The material is different. I can't explain. It's really hard. It doesn't really come out on the camera, but the material is different. I do know this one, if you do crash it pretty good, it will definitely break, and then you have to take the whole frame apart. It's not just 8 screws. It's a lot of screws to basically pop off all the motors and everything, and you're just basically taking the whole drone apart to swap this out. So for those of you that crash a lot, something like this in terms of maintenance is not a good thing. So if you do happen to crash a lot, this one here, in terms of switching out the prop guard, is going to be a lot easier. Only 8 screws. And then this carbon plate's going to be pretty tough to break. You're going to have to crash really bad. You're going to be breaking things like the cameras and the motors before you break this carbon plate, I think, if you're really crashing that hard. So, this is kind of the pros and the cons here. Now, the out-of-the-box tune is going to be better for this one than the Betaflight one. Now, I've never flown this one with the 1404 motors out of the box. I know it has a different tune than the 1106 version, but in general, Beta FPV, it doesn't tune their quads as well as iFlight does. Now, regarding the tune, I recommend flying this with the 850 4S instead of the 650. So in their specs, they claim, they'll fly from 650 to 850 4S, but the weight of the 850 is better, in my opinion, in terms of the way it flies. Now, it could have been the day that I flew it. It was a little bit windier. I flew it with the 650 with this new GOCam. This is their new iFlight. It's called the GOCam. You can see right there on the bottom. I will have a separate video on this camera because there's a lot to talk about this camera, and plus I need to gather a lot more footage, and it's not currently available for sale by itself anyway, so no point in putting a video out when you can't even buy it currently. But you can buy it in a bundle if you want to order from Banggood, because the Banggood has bundles with this, with a Protek25 Pusher with the camera. But I don't believe they're going to be getting it in this bundle or any of their drones until sometime in mid-July, I'm told. So that's why I'm going to hold off on this one. I know there's a lot of questions about this camera. 4K 30. I'll save the rest for the video, but feel free to leave any questions you have about this camera down in the comment section, and I will take a look at those before I make my video and review on this one here and try and address some of those questions in that video. But yeah, this is what I flew with. I flew with this. I'll show you a little bit of the footage from this one, but it wasn't that good on a windy day. Actually, I'll link all the flights and stuff that I flew, all the footage, down in the video description, because they're kind of long, and I don't want to stick them at the end of the video because this will turn this into a 35-minute video. But yeah, on a windy day on this lighter battery, not so great in terms of the pitching. I think this is going to fly much better on the heavier battery in both windy and non-windy conditions. This is what I recommend. I recommend not flying the 650, but just go right to the 850. Now, this camera is a bit heavier than a naked GoPro as well. I think it's 52 grams, if you guys are wondering. So naked GoPro is going to be like 29 grams or something like that. But yeah, so with the 850, we're coming in at almost 300 grams. It's 297 grams. So they, I think they said that you can get this at 250, but you're going to have to fly with a naked GoPro, smaller battery. And I'm thinking that they may have claimed that for the analog version. And also keep in mind that mine has the Crossfire antenna, which is heavier, and the Vista. You can probably get this under 250 if you strip down the Vista and maybe don't use the Immortal T antenna, get rid of some of these TPU parts, use a naked GoPro instead. So yeah, if you're interested in a video on how to get the DJI version under 250 grams, let me know down in the video, down in the comment section, if there's enough interest in that. I'll make a separate video on how to do that. Shouldn't be too hard to do, but I wanted to fly this with the new camera, which is, this is the mount that's included with the camera that comes with it, and it actually fits their mount style. But they have a naked GoPro mounts as well that will, they're actually, it's this one here. It's the same one that I'm flying. I flew on the old Protek25. It's this one here that fits that same mount. And so you can put that on, fly with a naked GoPro, and you're good to go. You can also fly this without the battery. This has a battery and also a blank battery back, and you can fly it off of LiPo power. Again, I'm going to talk about all that in the video for this, but yeah, it's kind of a little preview of this camera and a little bit of footage. But yeah, I got to gather a lot more footage on this one here before I can make the formal video on that one. But this one is definitely for sale currently. You can get it at the iFlight store. It's not at Banggood yet, and I'm sure it'll show up at Pyro and Race Day Quads probably within the next couple of weeks. So I know some of you guys want to jump the gun. I would say wait. It'll show up in the US stores pretty soon, and I will make an announcement on my community page when it does come out on one of those stores. So if you're wondering, be subscribed, get your notifications enabled, and you'll probably see that in your YouTube feed when I announce that this is in stock in those other stores. Okay, well, that's a long video. A lot to talk about this one here. All the links down in the video description. Check that out for the flights and all the parts and everything. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.